Good morning, Your Honor.
Two
Ashley Lonnie
cases.
for the people in both matters.
Good morning, Your Honor. First Assistant Public Defender Kalina Anderson with and on behalf of Mr. McGlashan in both cases. Sir, can you unmute and state your name, Mr. McGlashan?
My name is Brandon McGlashan.
All right, what are we doing?
Your Honor, we're setting both matters for preliminary exam and at the appropriate time, I'd ask to address this bond.
Yep, I got it. All right. When do we want to do the preliminary examination?
As soon as possible, Your Honor.
Oh. People be ready Tuesday? I'm full that day, but I don't think we'll squeeze you in if necessary.
Your Honor, I was looking at the 21st.
Okay, put it that day.
Thank you.
Preliminary examination, March 21st, 2023, 9 a.m. before Judge Barr in person. As to bond.
Thank you, Your Honor. As to Mr. McGlashan's bond, as Your Honor is aware, he did turn himself in this past Saturday as the court ordered. He's been in custody since that time. He is asking the court to consider releasing him. We understand that this second case has been a violation of the initial order of the court, and the original case now has a no bond on it. And the newer case has a $25,000 bond, which he is unable to post. Mr. McGlashan, again, is asking for a personal bond. He'd like to be able to get out and care for his son. He indicates to me that he was a stay-at-home dad for a long period of time, that he was the primary caregiver of the child, and that it's been extremely difficult on both him as well as his son for them to be separated during this time. We did have a long talk about the no contact. He did admit that it was hard for him initially to separate the divorce and the things that are going on in the civil matter from the current case, and that, you know, he did let emotions get control of him and did some things that he should not have done. He's prepared to move on at this point. He just wants to be divorced, to be able to move forward with his life, take care of his child. He does have a job at the University of Michigan and has held that job as an announcer for quite some time. He was supposed to have an interview at Kroger on March 6th, but he was unable to do so because he was in custody. In review of his previous record, he does not have any prior convictions on his record. He's only being held on these two cases. And he admitted to me that this being in custody, this time in custody, essentially, you know, scared him straight. He's had some time to think about his actions. He's had some time to think about how he's going to behave should the court grant his motion to be released. He just wants to be divorced, move on, and follow the court's orders.
Response.
Your Honor, my concern is that the nature of the bond violation and the new case was not a one-off contact. It wasn't a one-time event where he contacted the victim. This went on for months. And so I am concerned that while he may be optimistic about his ability to change and move on, that may not be the case. Again, the victim's safety is my primary focus here. I do believe the bond has been appropriately set at no bond given the violation in the new case.
And I would just indicate that it's not only the violating this court's orders that he did, but also the family court orders, which were governing how the parties were conducting themselves. I remember very clearly asking the defendant at the last hearing, and if in some way he could give me some explanation as to those long series of contacts that were really in violation of the family court order and this court's orders. that then resulted in the second. I am not as optimistic as he may be that he will be able to change and in this short period conduct himself appropriately. Maybe it will be that Judge Barr can get through to him on the 21st, and maybe will come to a different conclusion regarding what this defendant can do. But this court believes that the defendant should remain incarcerated until such time as the exam is held, testimony taken, and a full picture of what's going on is done. So his bond will continue as revoked at this time.
May I? Is there anything I can say to give the court confidence? I promise you, sir, I lost my father and my brother in 2020. This was going to be another loss in my family. I couldn't suffer it. I couldn't let it go. I'm very sorry. I swear to you, I will never contact this woman again. I just want to get out and see my son. I'm supposed to make him dinner tonight, breakfast for dinner, in fact. I'm going to lose my apartment. I won't have a place to keep him. I promise you on my life, you throw me in prison, anything. I will never talk to her again until the court tells me I have to. If she sends me a text that says, I want you back, I will send it to Miss Anderson. I just want to see my son Kellen and make him breakfast. I know I haven't given you confidence until now, but my lack of criminal history should count for something. The only thing I've had a problem with is letting go of a loss that would have been just a third basic death in my family. And I'm very sorry. Just please let me go home. And I promise you, you will not regret it. No one will. I swear to you.
You know something, Mr. Glassman, and I'll only say this, that I see how composed you are today, but I very distinctly remember how you were acting the last time you were before me.
Sir, I've been in jail for a week, sir. It's changed things. I've lived my whole life to stay out of this place, and it's worse than I ever thought it could be. I'm listening to people talk about getting shot, shooting, beating other people up. It is literally a nightmare. Yes, it has changed me like nothing. I don't know how I couldn't have imagined it was this bad. Being here.
Well, you only have yourself to blame.
I know.
If you had just followed the family court's order or this court's order, you wouldn't be in this boat. And you don't have an explanation as to why you didn't. And quite frankly, when I look at all of the messages that you're sending to her, you were intending to harass her.
Sir,
you succeeded.
Sir, I know it's a separate matter, but in my mind, and you asked for an explanation, so this is what I was trying to tell you. I'm not saying it's right. I am, in fact, the person who got beat and thrown out of my home. I know it doesn't matter.
Okay. Look, if you want to go through this again, we'll go through it again. I still have the text messages you sent. I know exactly what Judge Vandenberg told you. You didn't follow that order. You didn't follow my order. You wanted to play by your own rules, thinking that somehow or another you were going to be able to do whatever you wanted to do. Doesn't work that way.
I was not trying to play by my own rules, sir. I was just terrified of losing another human being in my life. I lost my father and my brother within 5 months of each other in 2020. And then this happened like 21 months later, and I was just starting to get better from those two. I just couldn't handle it. That's it. I'm not a crazy person. I'm not at all. I love this woman with all my heart. And that's why I'm never going to contact her again, because, you know, this person that jumped on my bed and wove the stick in my face, we're pregnant, and then wants you to get away from her. I'm sorry, I couldn't reconcile the two. I promise you. I mean, I will lose my job at Michigan, which is my childhood dream. My son sits in the stands and listens to me in the speakers and tries to talk to me through there. I will lose my apartment. I won't have a place to take my son or a place to have an address to get a job. I promise you the best thing for all of us is for me to go home and be a better dad from this moment forward. And I swear to you, sir, you will never see or hear from me again when this matter is concluded. I promise you. And yes, I'm more composed today, but that's because I've spent a week in a place I've spent my life trying to stay out of. It's no one's fault but mine. And that's why I'm composed today, sir, because I realized I would have to tell my son while I'm in here. And the only thing that I could say to him that would make any sense is your daddy didn't listen. And I know that, and I'm going to listen. I promise you, please just Let me return to my family or my home so I can get a job at Kroger. They were waiting on me Monday. I didn't miss any games at Michigan this week because luckily there was nothing on the schedule, but if I miss one, that's gone forever. That was a dream my dad and I both had for me. I promise you, Miss Londi, everyone involved, I swear to you.
Here, sir, here's your problem. I didn't count the number of text messages that you sent, but in going through all of those, none of those even remotely fit into Judge Vandenberg's order. Certainly didn't fit into this court's order. And after each one of those, after each message you sent, you had time to think about whether or not you were doing the right thing.
I know, and that's.
And the sad fact of the matter is, it took this. And now you're saying that all of a sudden, somehow or another, you changed and you're going to do the right thing. I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest with you. I don't believe it.
Sir, I spent a week in jail.
So
My history.
maybe.
Why would it take more
Yes,
than a week in jail?
yes, you did because I put you there. And so what you can do is maybe you'll be able to convince Judge Barr, but you haven't convinced this judge.
I'm not trying to convince.
And I would say that you probably haven't convinced Judge Vandenberg, but I'll let her speak for herself.
Sir,
Thank you.
my wife testified I've never lied in court. How can I be lying to you now?
Mr. McGlashan,
Okay.
please stop at this point.
I'm
We'll see you
done.
on the 21st.